of a 3-game set on Root Sports between the Cleveland Indians and the Houston Astros. And it's a beautiful day to be outside so far for the 10th annual Bayou Bash. I'm Julie Morales coming to you from there. Todd Callis, Jeff Blum will join you in just a few minutes, but this is a place to be right now. Live music, there's crawfish, there's plenty to drink, and a great time before these fans make their way into Minute Maid Park to see the best team in baseball. They have 29 wins, 13 losses, but those 13 losses are few and far between. This team does not like to lose back-to-back games, so we have to go way back in order to find one. It's our Shiner Light Blonde Spotlight. Like I mentioned, they're trying to bounce back from a loss to the Indians last time. Well, the last time they did it was against the Cleveland Indians in April, end of April. They have not lost 2 straight since. Pretty impressive stuff. Now, when I say bounce back, this Astros team does it pretty impressively. Let's check out their numbers after losses, what they do in that very next game since April 27th. There's been 5 losses then, since they're averaging 7.6 runs a game. 10 hits a game, they're averaging 295, so the offense comes out ready to hit and ready to win to break up any sort of losing streak. And since losing that series, like I mentioned in Cleveland, they did learn a lot about themselves and what it's going to take to keep winning series. They've won 6 consecutive series since then, and they hope to do it again right here against the Tribe. But in order to do so, they're going to have to win on this Saturday afternoon with Mike Fiers on the mound. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to have a little more fun at the Bayou Bash, but Todd Callis, Jeff Blum will get you set for this one. First pitch is coming up in just a few minutes.
On Root Sports is presented by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. The Astros have been great at bouncing back after a rare loss, and they'll try to do it again today against the defending AL champions. Blummer and I are back with all the action when we come back. kick off a 10-game homestand. Astros losing in the opener last night to the Cleveland Indians 5-3. Todd Kalas alongside Jeff Blum. Blummer, game 2, a chance to turn things around against a team that so far has had the Astros number.
They really have, and it's a unique opportunity. Mike Clevenger is making the start for the Cleveland Indians, and hopefully the Astros can narrow down that strike zone and get some pitches to hit.
When you look at Cleveland's numbers, especially the month of May, not so good, but they've always found a way to do it against Houston.
Yeah, they've done a very good job against Houston. You're going to see some of those numbers across the bottom of the board as you watch some highlights of them launching. Lindor's been a pain in the neck for the Houston Astros, but 18 of those 33 hits have gone for extra base hits. 8 home runs, 9 doubles. There's a triple mixed in there. And how about yesterday here at Minute Maid Park? They had 7 extra base hits in that ball game. 3 of them were the variety that go out of the ballpark. So Mike Fiers, we know, gives up the home run. It's going to be a tough matchup for him, but hopefully he makes the adjustment, is able to fight through this lineup and keep the Astros in the game until that offense comes alive.
Fiers has allowed more home runs than any other pitcher in baseball, so that is the challenge today. But when you look at Fiers' numbers against Cleveland, 3 starts, all pretty good, including one here last season.
Yeah, he's done a very good job here. Likes pitching at home. Fastball, curveball combination mix. But you're talking about the home run, and this is that start that he had last year against these Cleveland Indians, going 102 pitches. Those numbers you see across the bottom are something that A.J. Hinch would love to see right now, especially considering Fiers has been roughed up in the last couple of starts. So 16 home runs in 36 innings he has pitched this year. 4 home runs per 9 innings. That is not a good combination. But Mike Fiers pitching in the friendly confines of Minute Maid Park.
So here's how Terry Francona will set up his lineup against Fiers tonight on this Saturday afternoon contest. Jason Kipnis, who's been hitting well lately, will lead things off for the Indians, followed by Francisco Lindor. Michael Brantley in left field, Carlos Santana and Edwin Encarnacion switch roles. Santana will be the DH, Encarnacion at first base. Jose Ramirez, who continues to do well against the Astros at third base. Lonnie Chisenhall hit the ball hard in last night's game. He's in right. Jan goes behind the dish. And Bradley Zimmer playing in his 4th Major League game.
It's time now for the Mini Countryman player profile. Mike Fiers, we've got some peripheral numbers on him. The Major League average is going to be on your right-hand side. FIP, which is fielding independent pitching, is at 8.23, and that tells you that Mike Fiers has been walking a couple of guys, but he's giving up the home run. That's what defenses cannot defend against, is against a walk or a home run, so that's why those numbers are elevated. He's got a decent ground ball rate, but when that ball reaches the sky, it usually goes a long way.
Mike, 31-year-old from Deerfield Beach, Florida, has struggled, as we mentioned, with the long ball. Go with a new dude today for the first time. He got that mohawk look down on the trip to Miami.
Yeah, that was interesting. Maybe that's a worthy distraction for the hitters.
Changing the luck around.
Whatever it takes. Trust me, we've all been there.
Fiers has definitely had his bouts with giving up the long ball. Other than that, he's been able to work out of jams primarily this year.
Well, he's done a very good job. When runners actually do get into scoring position, he's kept them at bay. Just the problem of giving up the long ball.
So we'll see what happens tonight, this afternoon, I should say, as Jason Kipnis leads off. The Indians did hit 3 home runs in the opener of this series against Charlie Morton last night. And that's unusual. That hadn't happened to Morton in over 7 years. Foul back to the screen, and we're underway on a Saturday. Glad he could join us. Todd Kalas along with Jeff Blum, Julie Morales down by the Astros dugout. Astros come in with a Major League best record of 29-13. As Fiers misses outside for ball 1-1-1. Houston leading the American League West Division by 6.5 games over the red-hot Texas Rangers, who have not lost in their last 10. 1-1 pitch is in the air, shallow left, deep third. Bregman out, Aoki in. It's Nori who makes the call on the catch. That's how we start this one.
Good pitch by Mike Fiers, getting inside on Jason Kipnis. Some more of the traditional numbers, making his 8th start on the season. He has a 1-run record. The Astros are actually 4-3 in his 7 starts. With that ERA inflated at 5.75 and the whip. See the 15 walks in those 36 innings.
Fiers got bit by that home run bug twice in the same inning last start, but other than that, fared pretty well against a very good Yankees offense. As Francisco Lindor with a little look into the Astros dugout after he beat the shift and hit the ball up the middle to the shortstop side. I don't know if he was looking at A.J. Hinch or just in general, but kind of gave a little glance on his way down to first base.
It's always interesting. Fastball away. Lindor doesn't try and do too much, just taps it that way. That did look like it was going A.J.'s way. Usually as a ball player, you try and beat the other team, not the other manager.
Well, that time he felt like, all right, you can shift me, but I can also hit the ball up the middle.
Shouldn't he be looking in that building behind the left field wall?
Al Brantley around a bunt takes one for a ball. I think Lindor is very loose in general, likes to play with passion, and also likes the fact that Carlos Correa is the opposing shortstop. Those two guys going head to head in the series. They always have a good time.
Good friendly Puerto Rican fun.
Now, there's good healthy competition between those two for sure. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Up and away for ball 2. It's 2-0.
But I tell you what, Lindor can look in there and say, hey, I beat the shift and I got a single out of it. AJ's going to look right back at him. I'm glad you didn't turn on it and try and launch it out of this ballpark.
He is 10th right now in slugging percentage in the league.
Yeah, so go ahead and just keep tapping it the other way. We'll deal with it after that.
Lindor does have a couple of steals this year. Stays on the 2-0 pitch, and it's a called strike, 2-1. Thought Fiers' secondary stuff in his last outing was maybe better than we have seen during the season.
No, I agree. The curveball last start out for Mike Fiers I thought was excellent.
Fiers making start number 8 on the year, just his 3rd at home. Made 5 of his last 6 starts away from Minute Maid Park. Two and 2 the count on Michael Brantley. Take a look at that home road split since joining the Houston Astros from Milwaukee. You can see the Fiers definitely likes pitching here at Minute Maid Park better than on the road, at least with those numbers.
And those home numbers include a complete game shutout no-hitter. So that always looks good and always makes you feel comfortable pitching in a place where you've had some extremely good success.
Took care of the Dodgers shortly after being acquired by Houston. Another check of Lindor. Cleveland doesn't run a whole lot. In fact, the guy at the plate, Michael Brantley, leads the team in stolen bases with 4. Brantley picked up his 4th steal in last night's game. Two-2 pitch, ground ball into left field for a base hit. So Brantley goes the other way. Back-to-back singles by Lindor and Brantley.
Take a look at the pitch location with that shift on our MD Anderson strike zone. Everything away from Brantley, even though they are playing in that shift to pull against him. No real damage done. The ground ball percentage for Mike Fiers is actually up close to 7% in comparison to last year. So an opportunity for a ground ball to get him out of a situation here.
His ground ball percentage highest we've seen really in the last 5 or 6 years. But when they do get it up in the air, unfortunately, it is left more often than Fiers would like as Carlos Santana digs in. Brantley had a 2-strike hit last night, another 2-strike hit today. He's hitting over 300 when he gets to 2 strikes. That's in the top 4 in the American League.
It's called no panic. Get to 2 strikes, no panic. You're fine.
Even on that pitch, let it travel.
Yeah.
Laid the bat out there and put it in the left field for a hit. Santana, high pop-up on the infield. Who wants it? Gaddis is looking at Bregman. Somebody better cover third, and Correa gets over there. 2 outs.
I don't think Gaddis wanted to get off the dirt. Did you see that? I don't want it. You take it.
He never took the mask off.
Well, the thing is, too, is that Santana, left-handed hitter, the shift is on, so Bregman's playing a little bit shaded towards that shortstop position, so he had a long way to come in. Fiers was making an offer, but Gaddis wanted absolutely no part of that.
You could see him track it, and shortly after that, look for the third baseman. Good thing Bregman was there on the spot. Nice play by the young third baseman. 2 outs, 2 on. Here's Edwin Encarnacion. Big swing, no contact, nothing in 1. Encarnacion with a 2-run home run in last night's game. That tied the game at 2 in the 4th inning for Edwin, his 7th of the year. Breaking ball up high, 1-1. Fire's 103rd career start, 8th this season. And the 4th time he's faced the Cleveland Indians, 2nd time this year. Ball's hit on the line. Aoki comes on and backhands it for the final out. Fires gets through the first by retiring Edwin Encarnacion. And the Astros will come to bat in the bottom half. West Airlines. George Springer will lead things off for Houston, followed by Josh Reddick and Jose Altuve. Carlos Correa having quite a month of May. Carlos Beltran, Evan Gattis, Yuli Gurriel, Alex Bregman, and Norachika Aoki.
Mike Clevenger going for the Cleveland Indians. Spent some time down in AAA. He's had 6 starts in AAA. He's up here now with the Cleveland Indians as you take a look at his numbers. This will be his 3rd start on the season. Very small sample size, but doing a good job. That hard contact, very low, underneath the major league average. Fastball 92 to 94. The batting average against that fastball is right at 100. But again, he's only thrown 180 pitches in the big leagues this year.
So we'll see how he fares against George Springer and company. First pitch is a big swing and no contact, nothing in 1. Springer coming in batting .250. His last 18 games hitting .288. Another fastball for a called strike, nothing in 2. Having command of the strike zone has been an issue for Mike Clevenger this year.
Yeah, there's a number that really jumps out at you. He's 7.8 walks per 9 innings.
He hasn't allowed many hits in the 10 innings of work. 4 hits allowed in his 2 starts and 1 bullpen appearance, but 9 walks in 10 innings. Clevenger jumped on the scene last year and ended up pitching in the postseason for Cleveland with their injuries. Pitch misses away, 2-2.
There's that number on the bottom, 7.84 walks. But a relatively good ERA considering he's putting that many guys on base.
A little slider there. He's got a slider, curveball, changeup. Likes to throw that curveball to right-hand hitters. Slider comes in, as you saw, around 80-81. The curveball's more 75-ish.
got kind of a funky delivery, too.
A lot of moving parts. And a foul tip, swing and a miss. Strikeout to start the game for Mike Clevenger.
Going to take a look at Clevenger's pitch usage, brought to you by AT&T. Heavy on that fastball, over 54, right at 54%. Change-up, slider, that curveball that Todd's talking about. Yet to hit the slider. Saw him punch out George Springer with it.
Strikeouts are up for him this year as he starts out Reddick with a strike, 0-1. Clevenger's always fared better against lefties than righties in his career, not only in his 2 seasons at the big league level, but throughout his minor league career as well. He's taken care of lefties. He uses that changeup a lot when he faces left-hand hitters. 1-1 to count to Reddick. Reddick is one of those guys who is hitting well at home. That's not across the board for sure. The Astros have struggled at times scoring runs this season at Minute Maid Park, but not because of Reddick's contributions. He's a .345 hitter here with 4 home runs, 4 of his 6. Pitches away, and there's the issue for Clevenger. He can strike out one guy and walk the next. Reddick fouls one back. It's 3-2.
Good swing by Josh, and he's actually, for me, been locked in for a couple of weeks now. Struggled in that Miami series, but he was just hitting a lot of balls hard right at people. Hit a home run last night.
Slice the other way. Into another good-sized crowd this afternoon. We saw Julia outside. She was enjoying the festivities before the game.
What is the over-under on how many crawfish she actually had?
Bayou Bash crawfish.
Yep.
I'm going to go with 5. Soft line drive caught in the air by Jose Ramirez, and that's the second out of the inning.
5 pounds?
Yeah, rumor has it you're a pretty good crawfish girl.
I love crawfish. It's a perfect day for it too.
Yeah, how was it going out there?
It's, you know, it was a lot of fun. Right before the game, they had that band going. It was loud and lots of fans. I think a lot of them were trying to get in the door as fast as they can too, because they wanted that gnome. But it was a great vibe.
It looked like a good time.
That was the balancing act. You want to stay at the Bayou Bash, but yet you want the McCullers gnome. So when do you go in?
What a decision to make.
I don't know.
Plenty of food, plenty of drinks. They do it right for Bayou Bash.
Yeah, they do. If you shut down a whole street, you know they're having a good time.
Yeah, but how about that? Back-to-back days. Pino in the Park yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Bayou Bash today. You can be entertained well before the game and then go see a Major League game. Pretty good combo.
It's a good weekend.
Your "I don't know" comment did not go unnoticed, by the way. So
appreciate you.
Where was the over/under on the 5?
Oh, I'm saying over with
okay.
Julia and the crawfish, no doubt. Yep,
oh,
there
yeah.
it is.
I might have crushed some crawfish.
That's your plate?
I love the potatoes and the corn. It's spicy. There's nothing better.
That was a pretty impressive plate right there. Jose Altuve with a 1-2 count upstairs for a ball, 2-2.
Interesting to see Clevenger go up the ladder on Jose Altuve. Yesterday we saw Trevor Bauer. He was very effective up in the zone with his fastball.
Got a couple of chases from the Astros, and that's what A.J. Hinch is hoping doesn't happen today. As he feels like if they can lay off that pitch up against Clevenger, that could bode well for his team. It's funny, each team that faces Altuve does things a little differently. We saw them really get pounded. He saw him really get pounded in by the Miami Marlins pitching staff. The Indians have elevated some pitches on Altuve.
Seen some teams go heavy slider on him, get him chased out of the zone.
Fastball broken bat, gloved, and Clevenger covers on the flip from Encarnacion for the final out. So Mike Clevenger with a 1-2-3 first. We're scoreless. Up here at Minute Maid Park. First man up, due up is Jose Ramirez.
And that gives us an opportunity to look at our forward spray chart. This season against the Astros, he's swinging the ball incredibly well, but you can see he likes to get extended. The Astros have done everything away to him, and he has just gotten the barrel to it. We saw him hit the ball hard a couple of times last night, had himself a base hit and a triple. See if they make the adjustment, but they're starting away off him.
Starting away and get a ground ball to Altuve for the first out on one swing. One pitch.
That's where I told him to pitch him.
Thank goodness. Because it hasn't worked before that. One out, nobody on. Yeah, Ramirez burst onto the scene last year, and he's continuing it this season. Lonnie Chisenhall will dig in. Lonnie started the year like Jason Kipnis on the disabled list. Had a little shoulder issue, just like Kipnis. Chisenhall had a 1-for-3 game last night. Hit the ball hard pretty much every time up there. Chisenhall takes a pitch from Fiers up and away for a ball, 1-0. Called strike, 1-1. Shallow center field. Springer a long run, and it'll drop in front of George for a base hit. Not hit hard, but it finds its way into some open territory in center for a one-out base hit.
Call that a heavy ball. Got down to earth in a hurry because got blown up. See it cutting into the label a little bit. Toughest thing for an outfielder is to adjust to that full swing. It basically a swinging changeup.
So Chisenhall on first base. That'll bring up the catcher Yan Gomes. He gets jammed and breaks his bat, but sends it foul into the fourth row of the crowd behind home plate. Still looking for that foul ball. Nobody has claimed it yet. Now somebody finally picked it up. Pitch inside for a ball, 1-1. Fiers pitched as part of the tandem on the doubleheader on Sunday at Yankee Stadium. It was Fiers game 1, Charlie Morton game 2. So Mike had an extra day of rest as Morton got the start in last night's game. Pitch misses away, 2-1. Three starts against Cleveland, 1, 2, and 2 runs allowed in each of those 3 starts.
Didn't pitch terribly in that game in New York. The bullpen kind of fell apart later in that game for him, which led to that 11-6 finish.
High foul towards the roof here at Minute Maid Park, and it hits the structure, and that is a fair ball. That ball hit the structure right below the roof.
You don't see that too often here at Minute Maid Park.
And landed in fair territory for a base hit.
Tell you what, if Fiers didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any at all.
Oki was tracking it, and then he had to give up on it.
Yeah, there's a rafter here that basically runs along that foul line. Straight up that foul pole is some of the girders up here that hold the roof up. And Aoki was tracking it, but he basically was a little bit off on the radar. The GPS needs to be adjusted.
So a blue pit and one off the rafters. At that point, Carlos Correa had no chance. Either did Bregman. Helpless feeling.
There's not a shift on the planet that's going to field that one. How do you input that into your sabermetric calculator?
That one has to be miscellaneous. I remember one.
Is that your random variance?
Yeah, that is random variance right there. I remember one in the postseason here. Did you, as a player, do you remember?
I remember Chipper Jones hit one straight up in foul territory, and it actually stayed up there.
But you don't remember one that stayed in play when you were
stayed in play, no.
Pitch misses to Bradley Zimmer, 2-1. Zimmer, #1 prospect in the Indians organization, just got the call up this week, made his major league debut on Tuesday. You're right about Fiers. He has made pitches to pick up a 1-2-3 inning in some circumstances. Instead, he's got first and second, one out.
Yeah, blew up Chisenhall and then Gomes with the pop-up.
Umpiring crew on that pop-up has to determine. Lance Barrett, home plate umpire. Stu Sherwater at first. Joe West, the crew chief, at second. Jim Reynolds at third. The umpiring crew has to determine if that ball hits in fair or foul territory. If it's in foul territory, it's a dead ball.
And if it's caught, ring him up.
If it hits in fair territory.
Yes.
The Astros could have turned that into an out, but it just fell in a spot where no one was. Called third strike. Zimmer goes down looking. Fiers picks up strikeout #1, and there's 2 away in the second.
Not a perfect spot or where Mike Fiers wanted to go, but still catches enough of the zone.
So just like last inning, Mike Fiers trying to work out of a 2-on, 1-out situation. Here's Jason Kipnis. Breaking ball gets through. Evan Gattis into the backstop. That one will go as a pass ball, as that was right there in the middle of the plate. Should be a strike.
That's pretty interesting, isn't it? Swing and a miss.
Counts 1-0. That was a pretty good breaking ball from Fiers. But called the ball. Now it's up and away, 2-0. Kipnis has a 5-game hitting streak. 9 for 22 with 7 RBIs. 7 of his 13 runs batted in this season in his last 5 games. (3-0). 3-0 with Francisco Lindor waiting on deck. There's a strike, 3-1. Now the count's full. Loop hit. High pop-up off the rafters for another hit. Pass ball. Now Byers trying to work out of a second and third situation. Into right field. That's going to be down for a hit. One run scores. Around second comes Gomes. The throw by Reddick is in time. Out at home plate. Yan Gomes. Josh Reddick guns down the opposing catcher. A run scores. It's 1-0. But Reddick ends the inning.
Astros have very good outfielders. Josh Reddick charges in, shortens the distance between him and Evan Gattis, and then throws a strike to home plate.
Half of the second inning. Astros will have Carlos Correa, Carlos Beltran, Evan Gattis due up. Indians come into this game 2 games over 500. They are 3-1 on the season against Houston. The Astros come in 16 games over. Correa on the season up to 295. May has been very kind to him as he takes a pitch for a strike, 0-1. Unusual top half of the second inning with a blue pit, a ball off the rafter by the roof, and then a line drive single that resulted in both a run and the final out of the inning. 1-1 the count to Carlos Correa. Due to the pass ball by Gattis, ends up being an unearned run. 2-1 to Correa. In the air, hit well towards left center, but closing the gap is Bradley Zimmer, and he's there for out number 1.
Here's a good look at Josh Reddick. You see him getting around the baseball, but as he's doing it, shortening that space between him and Evan Gattis. And coming through the baseball with that crow hop allows him to get a good, nice, long throw all the way to Evan Gattis on the fly to get Yan Gomes.
Here's Carlos Beltran with 1 out and the bases cleared, and that pitch misses inside. We've talked about how through 1/4 of the season, if there was one area you'd like to see improve, it was maybe the consistency on defense, but the outfield defense has been really good this year.
No, that's a really good point. When you say defense, you take into account the whole team, but the outfield defense for me, and I'm sure you too, is that the fact that they have been playing very good. Aoki's got a couple of outfield assists. We saw George Springer last night laying out to his left. Jake Marisnick, when he's gotten in there, ended a ball game in New York. with the assist at home plate. So the outfield play has been very good. For me, up the middle, the double plays have been an issue, but they seem to have cleaned that up here in recent days. First base for Yuli Gurriel has been an adventure here in the last couple days. But yeah, I agree with you in the sense that this outfield for the Houston Astros, very nice to have playing behind you.
Aoki's the guy they're going to challenge the most of those four you mentioned, but with those 5 assists, nobody has more in the American League. Then you've got, elite outfielders in Reddick and Barisnik and Springer. Occasionally Carlos Beltran gets out there, but AJ limiting his starts in the outfield, and rightfully so when you have guys like that who can play instead of the 40-year-old in the field who has primarily been a DH.
It's just crazy that AJ's been able to manipulate his starts with Dallas Keuchel being on the mound. A heavy ground ball type guy. As often as Carlos Beltran's been out there, he hasn't had very many opportunities.
3-2 pitches fouled. Speaking of Dallas Keuchel, Dallas will miss just 1 turn in the rotation. Goes on the disabled list today with a pinched nerve. So the roster move is that an extra arm in the bullpen. Asher Tolliver is called up. Pinched nerve in the neck for Keuchel. He goes on the 10-day DL, and it's retroactive to the 17th. So a week from today, we should see Dallas Keuchel back on the mound.
And that's what all indications are. We've talked to A.J. Hinch. We've talked to plenty of people around Dallas, and they said that, yes, just a pinched nerve. He should be fine. Let that thing settle down. There's ways to have that happen. I mean, everybody step away from the panic button. It's okay. Dallas Keuchel's going to be fine. Sacrifice 1 start now to have him all of September. There's a look at Asher Tolliver out there in the bullpen.
Got here just before the game. Another lefty in the pen.
Think about Dallas's neck, trying to haul that beard around.
You think that had an issue?
Maybe. I don't know.
3-2, and we get a swing and a miss from Beltran for the second out. Julia?
Guys, listening to Dallas Keuchel talk about the pinched nerve in his neck earlier, he said he slept wrong. He doesn't sleep well after he starts anyway, but didn't sleep well at all. Woke up the next day, so that was Wednesday, and felt it. And immediately went to A.J. Hinch, telling him about the discomfort, talked to the medical staff so they would know. Then when they came back from the off day, that's when he saw doctors, and they decided this was the best thing for him to do. This is different, though, than what Dallas has done in the past. We've seen him hide things, maybe pitch through things, and he's admitted that now. He talked about how he did it last year. He's just likes to go out there. He doesn't like to miss starts. Obviously wants to be there for his team, but he learned from that last year. And so this is a little bit different for him. He's disclosing everything at this point, telling them how he's feeling, and they all feel pretty good about this being more precautionary than anything else.
We got to love the attitude of a pitcher who wants the ball no matter what, but you also have to learn when it's not quite right. You have to say something. And the fact that there's a 10-day DL now makes it so much better.
Oh, so much easier. You can retro those for 3 days. So he only has to miss that 1 start. But I think maybe Dallas may have learned his lesson last year trying to fight through some of those injuries. Came out of spring training admittedly with a sore shoulder, tried to pitch through it, and eventually had a down year and went on the DL at the end of last year.
Gaddis tries to hold up in the breaking ball in the dirt, but he goes around in a 1-2-3 inning for Mike Clevenger, who's retired all 6 he has faced.
Miller time later in today's game. That will be brought to you by, of course, Miller Lights. As you're checking out some fine Astro defensive plays in the background. Completed the complete game for Dallas Keuchel in Cleveland. It was Almonte getting in on the action. That's Jose Ramirez in the shift with the flip to Francisco Lindor. And then last night, George Springer getting airborne for a nice catch out there in center field. Ball got past McCann, but a nice flip and adjustment by Charlie Morton got that out at home plate. This is a play for me, keeping Altuve off the bases with that nice spin move up the middle for Francisco Lindor. Very athletic teams out here playing right now, flashing the leather.
That prevented a run, as it turns out, because Carlos Correa, after that play by Lindor, would hit a home run to right field. Well, Lindor grounded one right where Carlos Correa is playing now, as the Astros had him shifted the first time up, and he hit a ball to the third base side of second. This time with nobody on base, just like last time. Astros with a different alignment. There you see where Correa is. Up high, it's 1-2 strikes. Mike Fiers pitched in some tough luck last inning. Did allow 3 hits. He's allowed 5 hits so far in this game. Here's a little pop up in this shallow center field. Plenty of hang time for George Springer. 1 away.
You see AJ looking at Lindor? I'm kidding.
That would have been funny. They did change the shift, though.
They did.
Don't know if that had anything to do with Lindor looking in or not, but they defensed him differently with the second at bat than they did the first.
I'm kidding. Yeah, just to clarify, AJ was not looking at Lindor, not pointing at his head, going, "Hey, I'm in your head." Nothing like that. Just your color analyst making things up again.
Want to know the count to Michael Brantley. Has that average up to 294. Last year, Brantley was really a missing piece in this Indians lineup, and yet they still got to the World Series as the American League champions. They only played 11 games last year. Everyone talked about the addition of Edwin Encarnacion, but this guy being healthy could be every bit as important. And Terry Francona is looking for spots to rest him. He does not want to see him play 145 or 150 games. The problem is, so far the 7 games that he's kept him out of the lineup, they're 1-6. So,
that doesn't help the cause, does it?
No, it doesn't. Francona, one of the more enjoyable people in the game of baseball to talk the game with, as Brantley sends one knocked down by Gurriel, and he flips to Fiers in time. Nicely done for the second out.
All the issues that Yuli's had recently, that was a great play. Ball hit hard off the bat of Brantley, moves to his right nicely, knocks it down, doesn't panic, finds the baseball, and makes a nice flip.
If you could somehow take that last road trip and get rid of it,
oh man,
Yuli would be having an outstanding defensive season.
I completely agree. For whatever reason, just a couple of mental lapses, maybe a lack of focus in a couple plays, but right there he was dialed in. Good first step. But I like the fact that he didn't panic after the ball knocked off his glove. He did a good job of keeping it in front.
Want to know the count to Carlos Santana. Santana popped up to the third baseman Alex Bregman his first time up. Hard hit. Gurriel's there. Loves that one. Final out of the inning, and a tap on the shoulder from his pitcher Mike Fiers. Guess what? Yuli's going to get to bat first. That's what happens when you make good defensive plays.
Astros, and it's time to take a look at our Chevy Stroh poll. Remember, you can find these on our Twitter page at Root Sports SW. Today, our question is, which Astros giveaway would entice you the most? We've been some good ones this year, but these are make-believe ones. Reddick replica belt, the Gurriel La Pina wig, or a Devo bobblehead. Good.
Only if I can wear the Keuchel beard with my La Pina wig would I be happy.
That would be great. Today, they're giving away the Lance McCullers Jr. Gnome. That's how Blummer says it. It's glow in the dark.
Yeah, the H on the chest lights up.
That's pretty cool.
I like those choices. What would the Devo bobblehead be?
Would have to have that upside down red Solo cup on his head, right? The Devo the band wore back in the day.
There's got to be some sort of dragon.
Yeah, or a dragon.
Yeah, there's got to be a dragon involved. Circle of Death.
Oh yeah,
Grip.
COD.
We got a lot of options for one of those. 1-1 to count to Yuli Gurriel. But yeah, the Reddick belt would be cool. I think the Pina hair would probably be the most popular.
Can you imagine a stadium full of Pina wigs? Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
Hey, the marketing people are watching this game. You never know. Ground ball towards short. Lindor throws out Gurriel for the first out. Mike Clevenger has started out by retiring the first 7 he has faced. I'll bring up Alex Bregman. Bregman carries a .259 average to the plate. See, his May has been a little better than his April. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Of the 7 straight that Clevenger has retired, he has struck out 3. Clevenger making his major league debut just a little more than a year ago. 2 days ago, on May 18th, was his 1-year anniversary of his big league debut. Pitched in Cincinnati, ended up making 10 starts for the Indians and 7 appearances out of the bullpen, and then also in the postseason with the injuries to their staff, he appeared 4 times out of the bullpen. One and 2 the count to Bregman. And Clevenger with another strikeout. Strikeout number 4 for Clevenger.
2017 Coca-Cola Astros Buddies memberships are on sale now for only $25. Kids up to 12 years old get a voucher for 4 tickets to a select Astros game, priority access to Kids Run the Bases, player autograph sessions, and more. Visit astros.com/buddies to get a Buddies membership for your kid today.
Here's Aoki. He takes a called strike. Well, the one thing we heard about Clevenger coming in, as Aoki carries a .267 batting average to the plate, is that if he's on the plate, he could be very difficult. And tonight he has had command on the plate. He is throwing a lot of strikes as he gets through the Astros the first time through the lineup, 9 up and 9 down. 1-0 Cleveland after 3. Presented by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Jack in the Box. Taste the Jumbolicious Jumbo Meal before it's gone, only at Jack in the Box. Fourth inning baseball. Breaking ball up high to start the inning to Edwin Encarnacion for Mike Fiers, who's gone through 3 innings so far. Last inning is best, a 1-2-3 third inning. A couple of nice plays by Yuli Gurriel in that inning. Encarnacion chops one foul and scatters his teammates in the Indians dugout 1-1. The one thing with the new fences, and they're great, the protective nets above the dugouts. If you're in the dugout and it goes over your head the first time, it can still come back and get you.
Get you on the ricochet. There's a good look at it. I'm with you. I like the net there.
Guys in the dugout have to be a little more heads up, but the fans in the crowd can enjoy the game of baseball without worrying about a line drive, and we have seen a lot of them in different parks this year. The Astros, so far, of the stadiums we've seen, one of the few that have that net up above the dugout. Encarnacion, and speared by Correa. Carlos Correa takes a hit away from Edwin, first out of the inning.
Tell you what, having a 6'4" shortstop comes in handy sometimes, especially with that arm length.
That wingspan helps make the play. Altuve's wingspan, maybe not.
Why?
Fastball first strike, nothing in one. Just saying. You needed every bit of.
So hard on the kid.
Altuve? Just impressed how far Correa went for that.
Altuve's quick enough. He probably would have caught that thing in his chest.
So there you go.
That's what you're getting at. I got it.
Not necessarily, but you picked me up on it. Makes up for it with his speed. 1-1 to count. Jose Ramirez grounded out his first time up. Pitch away for a ball, 2-1. Love to watch that combination. It is a great combo of Altuve and Correa and how they play with such a passion. It's almost like watching kids still in Little League, how much fun they have out there.
Yeah, they are highly entertaining.
2-1 pitch misses. It's 3-1. Ramirez 4 for 9 in his career against Mike Fiers. He has the best numbers of all the Indians. On the ground towards Gurriel. This will be the second out. Bring the whole family to the ballpark this Sunday for Kroger Family Sundays. Special Kroger Family 4-pack start at just $60. Visit astros.com/Sundays or call 1-877-ASTROS for more info. 5 in a row sent down by Fiers. 3 of those have been hit on the ground to Yuli Gurriel. And now Lonnie Chisenhall will bat. And there you see the infield shift. Everybody pulled over on the right side with the exception of Alex Bregman. Pitch misses to Chisenhall, 1-0.
It's one of the more extreme shifts that we see. Carlos Correa well on that second base side of the bag.
Two-0 the count. Chisenhall with a little flair into shallow center field for a base hit his first time up. Scored the game's only run. 1 run on 5 hits for the Indians. This ball is hit well deep to center field. Springer looking up, and this ball is gone. Into the Budweiser party deck in center field, and it's now a 2-0 Indians lead.
Now 17 home runs in 39 innings for Mike Fiers. I believe Jose Lima had the record for a season with 48 home runs. Might have been the first year here at Minute Maid Park also. This ball, center cut fastball. Lonnie Chisenhall gets out there and barrels it up. Hits it out there in that Budweiser party deck.
The only ball Chisenhall hasn't hit hard in the series was the base hit his last time up. That ball was well struck by Lonnie Chisenhall for his 6th home run of the year. Now back off the bat of Yan Gomes. Fiers has still not had a start this year, and we're now 8 starts in without allowing a home run. His last 7 have been multi-home run games. Hopefully that streak ends. 0-1 the count to Yan Gomes. .107 off the bat. Almost 450 feet.
446. Take that, Towles Hill.
We have not really seen many, if any, home runs to center that we could definitively say would have been in play last year with Towles Hill and the deep center field fence.
I agree. The ones we have seen out there have been bombs.
This one's popped high in the air. Altuve out. He'll call off everybody and put it away. But a 2-out solo home run by Lonnie Chisenhall has given the Indians a 2-0 lead. Bottom half of the 4th inning. Astros looking for their first base runner of the game. Trailed the Indians 2-0. They'll have the top of the order due up. See if George Springer, Josh Reddick, Jose Altuve can get things going here. Second time through the lineup for Mike Clevinger. Clevinger, a 26-year-old right-hander from Jacksonville, Florida. Does not look like a guy who attended the Citadel, but he did his first year, his freshman year. But he's had long hair since he was 5 years old until he attended the Citadel. That all came off. Then he realized you can't get drafted until after your junior year if you're at the Citadel. So he decided to transfer and went to Seminole Community College, and then was taken in the draft by the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim before being moved to the Indians. Made his big league debut last year, and so far he's pitched very well this afternoon, facing George Springer, who he struck out his first time up. He's been around the plate, Plummer, and we did not anticipate seeing that based on his earlier numbers.
No, coming into this game, he had a lot of walks on that stat sheet, but for me, I think the memo got around, hopefully in that Astros dugout, that this guy has a slider. But his fastball has been effective on the edges, but he has gotten a couple of punch-outs on that slider to right-handed hitters.
2-1 the count to Springer. Basically, nobody had more than an at-bat against Clevinger in their career coming into today. So
how about Clevinger staying down in the zone too? We've seen a couple of elevated fastballs and 2-strike counts, but leading up to the 2-strike counts, he's done a very good job of staying down.
You could see in the MD Anderson center strike zone. How everything in this at bat been right at the knees.
You see the Astros trying to lay off that pitch around the knees, but Clevenger's getting the call. So at some point you're going to have to start defending that pitch down. And no reason for Clevenger to move from down there because he's getting the call and the Astros are laying off it.
Let's bring her down to a knee after that foul ball.
That was a 2-strike approach. Just put it in play.
We're just trying to hit one through the glass on the other side of the train tracks.
Might have been trying to hit that elevator shaft out there in center field.
Swing and a miss. There is that slider once again. That's strikeout number 5. Clevenger has retired the first 10 he has faced. Clevenger said his major league debut and even his first start against the Angels, the team that drafted him, felt like he had some nerves there. Didn't feel great going into that start. Said he was so nervous and felt his legs shaking out there on the mound. That changed because he ended up pitching in the postseason last year. But even now, he's a little fidgety, even before he makes his delivery out of the windup. A lot of motion as he's getting the sign. Ground ball towards first, and it's through, Encarnacion into right field. Reddick around first. He is the Astros' first base runner on an error by the Indians' first baseman.
This might be what the Astros need, just to get Clevenger out of the set position. He's been in the windup up until this point. Ball was hit hard. You can see that last hop before it got to Encarnacion, who was usually DHing. Feet got a little bit narrow.
Even last year, Encarnacion kind of forced to play some first base at times when Jose Batista's shoulder was bothering him, but he primarily was the DH for years for Toronto. As Altuve takes a called strike. This Indian season, about one every 5 games or so, he'll start at first base. The rest go to Carlos Santana. So an error gives the Astros their first base runner. And Clevenger ahead of Altuve, 0-2. That's that slider you're talking about, Blummer.
Yeah, you'll see pitchers adjust throughout the course of the game, and I think Clevenger's figuring out against these right-handed hitters that slider's been pretty effective.
Fastball up. Altuve swings and misses. Strikeout number 6.
Advocare is building champions with Carlos Correa. 2 months into the season, you can see April was a bit of a struggle for Carlos Correa to get going, but eventually started to light it up, jumping up 150 points on that batting average. See the OPS enjoyed it, getting up to 1,156. Doubled the home run output, doubled the RBI output, but the beautiful thing too is that when he's getting on base, he's scoring runs. 17 runs scored so far in May.
The Astros have done some damage this year with 2 outs. We'll see if Correa can make something happen here with Reddick on first and 2 away. 6 strikeouts for Clevenger in 3 2/3 innings. That's nothing new for the Indians. They strike out a lot of batters. They are first in strikeouts per 9 innings at 10.2. The Astros are second at 9.8. Pitch down low, it's 2-0. But the big thing for Cleveland, at least to this point this year, is their starters have not been giving them successful starts for the most part. 5.14 is a starter ERA, and the bullpen has been locked down.
That's all they're looking for that starting rotation to do, is get them into that 6th inning so they can go to the Andrew Miller, Cody Allen mix. Brian Shaw's pitched well. But one of the staples for the Cleveland Indians has been that starting rotation, so it's kind of odd to see that the starter's been having such a tough time.
Corey Kluber has been bothered by a back strain. He's throwing a simulated game today in Cleveland. After that sim game, he may get some work in the minor leagues. 3-0 pitch. There's a fastball for a strike. 3-1. In his 2 previous starts, Clevenger walked 4 in 5 2/3 in Kansas City and 5 and 4 1/3 at home against Minnesota. First time he's been down in the count like this. 3-1 pitch to Correa. There's his first walk. That's what the Astros were anticipating, was a little bit of wildness out of Clevenger. And now they get their first walk. It's first and second with 2 outs. So 2 on, 2 outs, and Carlos Beltran, the batter. Beltran struck out on a changeup his first time up after an extended at bat.
Good news is he saw a lot of pitches from Clevenger in that AB. Hopefully it pays off here with runners on.
Starts him off with a curveball for a called strike.
Well, we've yet to see a mistake from Clevenger. That was a very good backdoor breaking ball.
Fastball low, 1-1. We were talking earlier about Carlos Beltran primarily being the DH, and when he has played the field, AJ has picked some good spots. He's played in the outfield 9 times this year and has caught 5 fly balls.
It's a pretty good ratio. He's wearing that invisible cloak out there.
1-1 the count. In the air, left field. I'll send the left fielder Brantley back in front of the track, and he puts it away. For the final out, 2 left on. We are through 4. 2-0 Indians.
All your favorite teams, players, ballparks, and much more. Get RBI Baseball today for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and mobile devices. Learn more at RBIGame.com. We've seen some good defense from Yuli Gurriel at first base here today. We've seen it really all season long. That road trip that we just came back from, though, very frustrating one for Yuli, as he had several errors while he was on the road. And AJ Hinch even talked about his first baseman, saying, you know, I think it's a concentration thing with him, maybe not focusing enough, but not a skill, not talent. We know he can get it done, but it was just a matter of focusing in. So since, you know, on that road trip, he actually started using Marwin Gonzalez's glove. He's been using it since. Maybe his a little old, just not feeling good in his hand anymore. So he switched to Marwin's trusty glove for Marwin Gonzalez there, and has felt a little bit better, guys.
I like that. The glove is working today. He's retired the last 3 hitters he's faced with ground balls at him. The last 3 ground balls have all been to Yuli Gurriel. A couple of them have been sharply hit. Here's Bradley Zimmer with a count of 1-0. Did you ever use teammates' gloves other than the outfield when you were on the infield?
No.
You always had your own.
Always had my own.
I've got to think that's a pretty personal thing. When you get your glove, just use somebody else's.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going to assume, you know, the way you break it in is very personal. I had my own way of going about doing that, but once the hand starts to sweat and the way it molds when your hand is inside the glove is what made the biggest difference for me. Made it comfortable. I didn't wear it all the way down, covering the entire hand. I usually maybe about 3/4 of the way down. I didn't put my entire hand fully into the glove.
Guys, with Yuli as well, you know, coming in to being a Houston Astro, he was a third baseman, didn't really play a lot of first, and so spent a lot of time in spring training. And he actually was using other gloves at that point too. I mean, these guys, I've noticed that with the Astros, and especially how many first basemen have moved over to that position or started to learn that position, have traded off and seen what works best. But right now, it's Marlins glove for Yuli.
Now, if a teammate came to you, since you said my glove is so perfect for my own hand, if a teammate came to you on a day you weren't playing and asked for your glove?
Oh, heck no. No way am I letting anybody use my glove. Are you kidding me?
So if Yuli came to you and said,
no, maybe my backup. I'm not letting him use my gamer.
Kidding me? Marwin did.
Marwin's a better person than I am.
Into the count to Bradley Zimmer. We are in the 5th inning of a 2-0 Indians lead, and there's a walk to the leadoff batter in the 5th. Twice he's had Zimmer on a 3-2 count. One he got a call in the inside corner for a strikeout. That one just missed. First walk issued by Fiers. Now back to the top of the order.
First baseman's gloves break in differently too, and so do outfielders' gloves. But around the infield, short, third, second. For me, I could break in a glove the same way I wanted to, but the first baseman's glove was a little bit different in the sense that I didn't create a pocket in that, or I created a bigger pocket in my first baseman's glove. But in doing that, you literally fold the glove in half. It's almost like a taco shell at first base, because you want to have a little bit bigger pocket for that ball to go in, as opposed to at short, second, where you want to make a little bit quicker transfer and not have the ball in the glove as long.
Pop up on the infield, foul territory. Alex Bregman right by the third base coach's box puts it away for out number 1. So Jason Kipnis retired.
Hey, Blummer, once you got that glove broken in, how long did you use it? Because we were starting to do a feature and we were asking guys about their glove and how many years it lasts. And it's amazing once you hear some of the relievers that have their glove forever, for years and years and years. How long did you keep yours?
I kept my glove at first base for a very long time because I didn't play a lot of first base. I played a considerable amount, but if it ever got loose on me, like the end of the glove, the webbing of the glove would get loose just because you're at first base, all you're doing is receiving throws over and over and over again, so the lacing gets a little bit loose in it. I've replaced the webbing. I've replaced the strings in my first baseman's glove, but I don't know if you guys remember, we were talking about my third base glove, and I actually tweeted out a picture of it. How it was just beat to oblivion and had pine tar all in the middle of it. But I kept my third baseman's glove, and I used it literally as every time I played third base for 9 years.
Wow.
I think I restrung that one twice.
Who would restring them?
When I was here with Houston, it was Stretch Suba, who was the bullpen catcher.
Runner on the move. The throw's going to be late. Stolen base for Bradley Zimmer. That's his first stolen base in his young big league career. Stole a lot of bases in the minor leagues.
He had 33 or 34 last year between AAA and AA. You could see him leaning too. Kind of in that Jake Marisnick build. 6'4", 6'5", lanky, can run a little bit.
Stole 33 for Akron, another 5 for Columbus last year. Had 44 combined the year before between Lynchburg and Akron. 1-1 pitch is sent the other way, foul. 1-2. Usually it's a bullpen catcher or an equipment guy.
Trainers are good at it too. You got to have the right tools too. Needle nose pliers are very effective.
1-2 the count. Francisco Lindor with a single and a fly out to center field. And Fiers gets him swinging. Second strikeout for Fiers, first since the second inning.
Oh, there you go. First of many. I didn't realize they gave out certificates for that. Nice.
Very cool. Young fan, is about as early a first game as you can attend. Michael Brantley with a runner on second and 2 outs. He's 1 for 2 with an opposite field single. Fiers gets in on him and he pops one foul. Bregman gives it a look, but he runs out of room. Six hits allowed by Fiers. 5 have been singles. The home run by Lonnie Chisenhall. Indians lead 2-0. Chisenhall has scored both runs. I think a lot of these fans are just kind of settling in. Maybe they were all at the Bayou Bash. They haven't had a whole lot to cheer about, but Fiers is looking through the 5th inning now with a 2-0 deficit, but he is settled in and retired for the last 5 he has faced. 2-0 Indians.
Start today, but here at Minute Maid Park, 319 average, 407 on base percentage. We've seen him draw some walks this year, zone control being huge for him. And not getting to play every day is difficult for anyone who's having to come out after 4 days off and be able to produce or manufacture runs as we've seen Evan do in the past. And AJ, who's been in that backup catcher role, did say today the hardest part of doing that is the anxiousness, trying to make up for lost time. Sometimes you want to get in swing mode, but Gaddis has put up some really good at-bats this season, taking those walks as I mentioned earlier. But one key to his success, guys, is that swing, the uncomplicated, the simple approach is something that AJ said, being able to time up anybody's fastball and hit the fastball wherever it may be, because we've seen Gaddis hit eye-level fastballs and all the way down, but he's always ready. He can time up anybody, guys.
Yeah, that is the challenge for a guy like Gaddis for sure. Last year, coming off a 32 home run season. This year, the at-bats have been a little more limited. He's normally an aggressive hitter anyhow.
Yeah, the Indians have seen that too. He's attacked baseballs up over his head. Got Oppo, he's pulled home runs.
So that is the interesting challenge for Gaddis, or like Julie said, anybody that doesn't play on a regular basis, is not being too aggressive and drawing your walks as if you would if you were a guy in the lineup every day. Evan has drawn a bases loaded walk this season. Walked off a game. Literally. Astros down 2-0. Still looking for their first hit against Mike Clevinger. And they won't get it here as Clevinger strikes out his career high 7th batter. He gets the first out here in the 5th inning. Clevinger's longest outing is 5 2/3 in his career. Did that a couple of times last season. He is in cruise control right now through 4 1/3 innings. Here's Yuli Gurriel. Yuli's battling an 0 for 9 and 1 for his last 14. Takes a pitch inside for a ball, 1-0. That has been the big equalizer, that slider.
Just a big sweeper going across the zone. The Astros haven't been able to square it up. Not even once.
This time Gurriel lays off. It's 2-1. Last year on September 5th, Clevinger faced the Astros at Progressive Field.
Well, I think your comment about the innings pitched poses an interesting question for Terry Francona, considering the situation Clevinger's in right now. It's a big fat 0 in the hit column.
And it still is with strikeout number 8. His previous career high in strikeouts was 5, so he has eclipsed that plus some. 8 strikeouts of the 14 outs he's recorded today. Earlier this season in the minor leagues, he started out his first 3 outings 8, 9, and 8 strikeouts, but at the big league level, by far the most Ks he's ever had. Pitch to Bregman, misses, ball 1.
All right, here we go. 2-0 count. Sit on the heater, Alex. How about a 105-mile-an-hour line drive right past Joe West?
Popped up on the infield. Clevinger is through 5 innings without allowing a hit. It is 2-0 Cleveland.
The 2017 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is here. Head to Astros.com/vote to choose your All-Star Game worthy stars and send them to the All-Star Game. Presented by MasterCard on July 11th in Miami.
Astros.com/vote Go on there and vote for your favorite Astros. We start the 6th inning. Like Fires and the Astros down 2-0. First pitch to Carlos Santana is a called strike, 0-1. Santana has popped up and grounded out to Yuli Gurriel. Slow breaking ball for a called strike, 72 miles an hour. Fires ahead 0-2. Though Santana possesses a lot of power and bats in that cleanup spot, he's not an easy guy to strike out. Up and in, backs him off the plate. It's 1-2. Carlos currently 10th in the American League and hardest to strike out.
Ooh. Chin music.
Inside, 2-2. 4, 5, and 6 due up for Terry Francona's Cleveland Indians. All 4 of the games so far this year between the Indians and the Astros have been either a 1-run game or a 2-run game. Swing and a miss. He does get Santana chasing the high fastball. That is strikeout number 3 for Fires.
Fires has actually pitched relatively well, scattering those 6 hits. Doing a good job elevating the fastball up and in past Santana. He has given a home run up in this game, but he's keeping the Astros in it. Only a 2-run lead.
He has retired 10 of the last 12 he has faced and only allowed 1 hit since the 2nd inning. Fastball misses inside to Encarnacion, 1-0. Edwin flied out to left field and also lined out on a nice play by Carlos Correa. Two 2-0 the count.
This could be a relatively large swing from Edwin.
Even though Encarnacion has struggled this year at the plate, batting average of .204 coming in, it's now .201. He has drawn his share of walks. Changeup just missed. Fires wanted it.
Maybe in off the plate, I'm not sure, but our strike zone will give us a better idea. Touching that upper inside edge.
Big swing, high fly ball to right field. Josh Reddick waits for it for the second out.
I want to say happy birthday to Marilyn Blankenship, lifelong Astros fan. She's turning 83 today. She watches every game, so we want to tell her we appreciate that. And we actually got this note from Cheo Cruz. Jose Cruz Jr. came in our booth, said hello, passed that note along. So happy birthday, Marilyn.
Happy birthday as Jose Ramirez takes a called strike, 0-1. You saw the batting averages per time through the lineup, and Fires is following through today with that stat as he has been better each time through the lineup. Now 1-1 to count to Ramirez, and that is usually the reverse.
Yeah, usually the opposing team figures that guy out by the third time around, but Fires takes him that long to get loose. Maybe, I'm not sure.
I mean, it's pretty dramatic going from over 300 the first time to under 150 the third time through.
The Colors historically has been another guy that's been pounded around early in ball games and then settles in.
1-2 the count. Fires trying to get through the 6th inning. Crowd trying to cheer him along for an inning-ending strikeout. Instead, it's a fastball upstairs, 2-2. Ramirez is grounded out to second, grounded out to first. In the air to Aoki in left field, and he puts it away. That's now 6 in a row sent down by Fiers. Cleveland 0 for 6, third time through the lineup against Fiers today. Score 0-0 and 0. Astros need to get something going here in this 2-0 game against Mike Clevinger and the Cleveland Indians. Clevinger 79 pitches into this game. He's made 2 previous starts at the big league level this year. He's gone 91 pitches and 86 pitches. So if this does continue, we shall see, as Blummer foreshadowed, the possibility of an interesting decision for Terry Francona. Clevinger facing Nori Aoki, George Springer, and Josh Reddick. Line drive, caught by Lindor. Hit the ball pretty hard, did Aoki, but in the wrong spot. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 6th inning. Seeing this guy for the 3rd time through the lineup now will be George Springer. Springer has been a victim of a couple of the 8 strikeouts. You've seen Mike Clevinger throw some nasty sliders today, and he's thrown some really good ones to George Springer. And normally that slider is a pitch he doesn't throw all that often, just 15% of his repertoire, but today it's been a big pitch for him.
Yeah, I think Jan Gomes and Clevinger figured out earlier that that slider has been very effective. Also working with that strike zone of Lance Barrett behind home plate. Stayed down in the zone.
For the most part, Clevinger gets the sign and goes, doesn't waste time between pitches. There's a fastball perfectly placed. All 3 of those pitches, and it's a 2-1 count right around the zone. We have seen pinpoint control today from a guy who, coming into this game, had really struggled with command. On the ground to second. Should be an easy play, and it is. Fitness makes it for out number 2.
Join us on Sunday, June 11th for the Astros Foundation Picnic in the Park, presented by Pluckers. Enjoy a picnic-style buffet, games, and an autograph session on the field. Proceeds benefit youth baseball and softball in the Houston area. Visit astros.com/picnic or call 1-877-9-ASTROS for more info.
There was a game earlier this season in Oakland where the Astros were being no-hit through 6 innings.
And then kaboom.
And ended up scoring.
Sean Manaea game, right?
Sean Manaea game.
Yeah.
And ended up scoring 10 runs. So far from over, but it's been A day where Mike Clevenger has been really on his game with his command. 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, no hits allowed. The 2 runners have reached on an error by Encarnacion and a walk. Reddick was the one who reached on that error. He has a 2-1 count.
Pitching a lot of the windup is Clevenger. Way on that first base side of the bat, or the rubber, stepping towards that right-handed hitter, creating a little bit of a crossfire, but obviously creating all kinds of issues for the Houston Astros.
But now it's 3-1. Reddick fouls one away. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Again, not one of these Astros had more than 1 at bat against Clevenger in their career. So everybody kind of seeing him, learning about him for the first time in a full game. Reddick stays alive.
And they've got to be picking the ball up late. Well, there's late movement off Clevenger in a 3-2 count, 3-1 count, fastballs 90 miles an hour, and they're late.
He's 1 out away from the longest outing of his major league career. Instead, it's ball 4. Second walk issued by Clevenger. Josh Reddick is a 2-out base runner.
Might have been a changeup in a 3-2 count.
The other thing you're dealing with when you face the Indians is if they get through 6 innings with a lead, they're 17-0.
Well, with Terry Francona, you've got a kid, of course you want, if he's in a no-hit situation, you want him to go out there as long as he possibly can. But the temptation for Terry Francona after that 6th inning to go to that bullpen is very high, considering that number you just threw out.
And Clevenger, 91 pitches. This is now his season high at the big league level. Called strike, 0-1. Altuve has grounded out and struck out. Absolutely no bullpen action right now, so he's going to let the kid go for at least a few batters here, you would think. Reddick on the move, breaking ball, called strike. The throw is 1 hop, not in time. Joe West signals safe. Jason Kipnis says he may want to take a look at this. If it stands, Reddick has his 2nd steal of the year.
Yeah, just in my eye, I think I'm on the side of Jason Kipnis. That was a great pick and tag by Jason. They're taking a look at it in that Cleveland Indians dugout. Pretty good jump by Josh, taking a peek in to see if the ball's put in play. But did he get that tag back down in time? They're going to look at it. This will be a good look. And it looks like that tag is on before the hand gets in there from Josh Reddick.
So the crew chief is the man who made the call, Joe West. He will go over along with Jim Reynolds and put the headsets on. The call was safe by Joe West, so they need visual evidence to overturn it, and it looked like there may be enough to call Josh Reddick out. Here's a look, Blummer.
Good job by Kipnis getting there on the pick. See, on that angle, it looks like it gets him a little more towards the waist. The other angle, it looked like it got him on the shoulder.
I think either way, they got him before the hand was on the bag, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So if this call is overturned, it will be 6 innings of baseball for Clevenger, a new career high. Astros trying to get something going in this game, down 2-0. They've had 1 runner in scoring position. That was Reddick, and it came with 2 outs in the 4th inning. Reddick temporarily is on the base at 2nd now, although all the Indians who are talking with him say, you're not going to stay here. Lindor is already starting to walk towards the mound. He kind of signaled that he thinks he was out.
I often imagine Joe West listening to Clint Black while he's on the headset.
Here we go. We're going to have a decision. He's out. Call's overturned. Clevenger is through 6 innings for the first time in his major league career, and it's still 2-0 Cleveland.
Kroger Family Sundays. Special Kroger Family 4-packs start at just $60. Visit Astros.com/Sundays or call 1-877-9-ASTROS for more info. Tony Sipp has entered the game for the Astros. The lefty has a few lefties coming up for the Indians that he will likely face, and he's not being used exclusively versus left-handed hitters like we've seen him do in the past for the Astros. He's actually had some troubles, and he's worked really hard to figure things out. And so now that he's being used for innings, facing both righties and lefties, he did tell me today that his backdoor slider is working really well, better than before against righties. So he's learning how to pitch against righties, feeling really confident against the righties, as he always has, but just because he's facing them more often, that slider is a lot sharper than it has been in the past. But the key to his success, guys, is that split, and that's what he's been working really hard on. It's the consistency for him. He said sometimes it just pops out of his hand, leaving it up, and that's where the damage is done.
All right, Julia, he gets a lefty to start this inning, and will face 3 of the first 4 that are due up as left-handed hitters. As Lonnie Chisenhall will bat. Chisenhall, little bloop single his first time up, scored a run, and then hit a home run. He scored both the Indians' runs. Home run was the only one allowed by Mike Fiers today, who really pitched well in 6 innings of baseball. Only allowed 2 runs, one of them earned. Pass ball and a couple of bloop hits in an unlucky second inning. And Fiers really locked it in as he was moving along in this game. He retired 12 of the last 14 he faced. Called strike from Sipp to Chisenhall. It's 1-2. Thought we saw Fiers make some strides in his last start with his breaking ball, and today was his best outing of the season, going back to his first start against Kansas City. Those two are very comparable. Both were 6 innings of 2-run baseball, both allowing 1 run while he's in there and 1 home run. So that string of multi-home run games is snapped at 6, and he leaves with his team down 2-0, unfortunately for Fiers, and he's had lots of run support this year, but not today. 2-2 pitch. There's that breaking ball. Altuve to his left. Uriel gets back to the bag, and there's out number 1 in the 7th inning. One out, nobody on. Here's Yan Gomes. Gomes tried to score from second base on a single by Jason Kipnis. He was thrown out by Josh Reddick to end the second inning. He's also popped up 1 for 2. Indians had 5 hits after 2 innings and only 1 since. That was the home run by Chisenhall. 1-0 the count.
Speaking of no-hitters.
Right now, Mike Clevenger has gone through 6 innings of no-hit baseball. He has walked a couple, and he has struck out a career-high 8. He's at 93 pitches. One lofted, long run, right field for Reddick. He is in fair territory and makes the play for out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down for Tony Sipp. Sipp last pitched in Miami. Did a good job in an extended outing in that game. Sipp pitched the middle game on that Tuesday night and went 2 2/3 innings. Here he has a chance at a 1-2-3 inning with Zimmer running. Correa knew he had to hurry, and he does. 1-2-3 inning for Tony Sipp. 7th inning stretch time at Minute Maid Park. Astros looking for some offense.
2-0 Indians. And time to reveal the winner of our Chevy Stroh poll. Thanks for voting in our Chevy Stroh poll on our Twitter page at Root Sports SW. We asked you which Astros giveaway would entice you the most. You guys like the Reddick replica belt, 60%. It's our dream giveaway right there. Lots of votes for the other two. I think the gnome is pretty popular, though, too, guys. The Lance McCullers gnome they give out today. There's a good look at the real Reddick title belt.
If it looked like that as a giveaway, I could understand why that received so many votes. That's a pretty good percentage, 60% going for the belt.
No, that's pretty hefty.
Because the other two are good choices. Devo bobblehead and the pineapple hair of Yuli Gurriel. On we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Astros looking for their first hit of this game against Mike Clevinger. The 26-year-old right-hander has never thrown more than 94 pitches in any start in his major league career. Here comes pitch number 94, and it's a line drive base hit down the left field line. Jose Altuve turns first. He'll hold up with a base hit, the first of the game for the Houston Astros.
Oh boy, Hose. If anybody in this lineup's going to break up a no-hitter, it's going to be one of the Astros that rakes 200 hits a year. Jose Altuve getting a first pitch slider that backs up. Really, probably the worst slider we've seen from Clevinger. But how close was it? Maybe a foot off that line. But how about Clevinger carrying that no-hitter this deep in the ball game, starting against the only guy to throw a no-hitter in Minute Maid Park in Mike Fiers.
He's going to stay in there, but there is bullpen action as this inning started. Ryan Shaw, who normally has the 7th inning, has begun to throw for Terry Francona. Pitch to Carlos Correa, misses outside for a ball, 1-0. There is Shaw, who went an inning and a third in yesterday's game, retired all 4 batters he faced. Correa has walked and flied out to center field. On the ground toward short. Lindor to Kipnis for 1. The turn, double play. Just like that, after the Astros' first base hit, Clevinger induces a double play ground ball.
That was a buzzkill.
This crowd's been looking for something to get into today. Haven't had a whole lot of offense to cheer about. Here's Carlos Beltran. Clevinger, who has never gone through 6 full innings at the big league level, now with 2 outs and nobody on in the 7th. Breaking ball for a strike to Beltran. Pitch just misses, 1-1. Career high 8 strikeouts. Beltran, a strikeout victim his first time up. Also has flied to left. Reaches out and fouls one away. It's 1-2. By far the finest outing of this right-hander's career, Mike Clevinger. And he's at the 100 pitch threshold for the first time in his big league career. 2-2 the count. Sure, Francona is taking this batter by batter, hoping he can get a starter through this inning. In the air to left field. Brantley back to the track in front of the wall, makes the play. And Mike Clevinger is through 7 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball. It's 2-0 Cleveland.
Time to play Name That Astro, presented by your local Honda dealer. We give you 3 clues. You guess by tweeting us at Root Sports SW. Galveston O. Galveston is your first clue. Acquired from Tampa Bay, drafted as a second baseman. Good luck.
I got it.
Blummer's good at this.
We're going to have to change the game to stump Blummer.
I think these are good, though.
They are good. No, I have no problem with them. I am so highly educated in Astros.
You are locked in to Name That Astro.
I have been for a good 2 weeks
there's been
now.
only 1, maybe 2 all year where it's taken you a while. And even then, you usually get them after.
They're good clues. The clues this year have been fantastic.
I might even have this one. Want to know the count to Jason Kipnis? There's a ball down low, 1-1. We are into the 8th inning of a 2-0 baseball game. Cleveland scored a run in the second on a Kipnis RBI single, and then a home run by Lonnie Chisenhall in the 4th. Tried to hold up, but it doesn't matter. It's a strike called. 2-1 the count. Tony Sipp with a 1-2-3 7th inning. Take a look at James Hoyt, who is warming up. This is the end of a string of 3 of 4 left-handed batters in the lineup. Michael Brantley's due up 2 spots from now, and a foul ball at the bat of Kipnis. When Sipp last appeared in that series in Miami, it was the Tuesday night game. The Astros had a big 10-2 lead at that point, but he retired everybody he faced. 8 batters up. Actually, 1 reach on an error, so no hits, no walks allowed in 2 2/3 innings. There's a line drive caught by Altuve, and he's retired all 4 batters today. Tony Sipp is going to have his afternoon end here, but once again, a solid outing for Sipp coming out of the bullpen on the heels of a very good outing in Miami. So A.J. Hinch with Francisco Lindor due up. We'll take the ball from Sipp. We'll tell you about James Hoyt when we come back. One out into the 8th inning from the Battleship Texas. We move back inside Minute Maid Park, and the new pitcher is James Hoyt.
James has done a good job since his recall, making his 8th appearance at ERA under 1, which is very nice to see. High strikeouts on the year. He's averaging 18.32 per 9 innings. Kind of a high number, where we talked about the Astros relievers being high in the strikeout category. Saw James Hoyt last night going, I believe it's an inning and a third, gave up a walk and a strikeout.
He faced Francisco Lindor in last night's game. Got him to fly out to left field. Here is Lindor with 1 out and nobody on. Not a big strikeout game for Astros pitching today. 3 for Fires. Tony Sipp gets 4 outs without a strikeout. And now Hoyt, and the first pitch Lindor sends high up in the air. That is way up there here at Minute Maid Park, and Josh Reddick makes the play for out number 2. We've already seen 1 ball hit the rafters. That didn't miss hitting the rafters by very much. 2 away. Ball off the bat of Yan Gomes. Hit the Raptors in the second inning and fell for a base hit. It was part of a 3 single inning in which the Indians scored their first run. Here's Michael Brantley. He's 1 for 3. On the ground, base hit up the middle. Brantley has 2 hits. He's a 2-out base runner in the 8th inning. Indians trying to come out aggressive against Hoyt.
Don't want to get to that slider. It's been a very effective pitch for him, helping him get that strikeout number up.
After last night's big crowd of 36,446, they back it up today with another big crowd. Saturday afternoon, 34,698 in attendance.
Nicely done.
So we're over 70,000 for the first 2 games of this series, over 71,000 to be more precise. Afternoon game tomorrow to wrap up this 3-game series. This will be the last chance in the regular season to see the Astros play the Indians. You never know what may happen come October.
I just don't want to see the Indians that have shown up in the regular season show up in the postseason against the Astros, because they played great against the Astros here in the limited times that we've seen them.
Let's face it, they have been a different team against the rest of the league. They have shown their A game against the Astros.
Absolutely have. Yeah, everything we saw on paper coming into this series didn't match, or doesn't match up to what we're seeing now.
1-0 the count to Carlos Santana. Astros with just 1 hit off of Mike Clevenger. His afternoon is almost 100% certain to be over. He's already at a career high 103 pitches. And they have Andrew Miller, who likes to pitch the 8th inning.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty happy to hand the ball over to the back end of this bullpen, that's for sure. They've yet to give up an earned run to the Houston Astros. Now in the 5th game, we'll have to wait and see.
Said Andrew likes to pitch the 8th. He likes to pitch any inning.
And say he doesn't really complain with that stuff, does he?
No. He'll pitch the 6th through the 8th or the 9th if you want. As he was used in multiple innings last year. Michael Brantley on first with 4 steals on the season, so James Hoyt wants to make sure he's close.
I think Joe Madden in the World Series last year found out that there's only one Andrew Miller, because Aroldis Chapman almost became a victim in that World Series trying to extend himself like Andrew Miller does.
Well, the Yankees played a big part in that World Series at the trade deadline, sending Andrew Miller to the Cleveland Indians and Aroldis Chapman to the Chicago Cubs.
Interesting how that works out, huh?
And then they get Chapman back to the Yankees this year. 1-1 pitch. That didn't miss by much,
if at all.
Lance Barrett didn't like it, but I think James Hoyt and Evan Gattis liked it.
There's a pitch last inning that Clevenger literally threw down the middle of the plate that was called a ball. This one, the entire baseball on the plate.
That's one you like to see called a strike. Instead of 1-2, it's now 2-1. And a ball hit well to left center field. Norioki on the move, and he'll play it off the fence. Around third is Brantley. Correa does not attempt the relay throw. 2-out RBI by Carlos Santana makes it a 3-0 game.
Another extra base hit for a Cleveland Indian against the Houston Astros. Coming into this game, they had 18 extra base hits. Now make that 20. Got a home run earlier from Lonnie Chisenhall. Now a double the other way off the bat of Carlos Santana. Did a good job of staying on that slider on the outside corner. Not easy to do.
I was going to say, if you're James Hoyt, well, first of all, you feel like you got squeezed on the 1-1 pitch, and then that 2-1 pitch was a pretty good slider. I mean, down and away.
Yeah.
In a pretty good spot. Sometimes you have to tip your cap to the hitter. In that case, Santana went down and got it and put it up against the wall by the Indians bullpen. Here's Edwin Encarnacion with a 1-0 count. With the lockdown bullpen that the Indians have, every run makes it that much more difficult. 3-0 lead now. 1-0 pitch. Encarnacion did not offer. It's 2-0. Andrew Miller and Cody Allen had not pitched since Monday. We may see both of those guys in back-to-back outings in this series. That's usually the formula for Terry Francona. Called strike, 2-1. Mentioned Cleveland undefeated when leading after 6. That holds true when leading after 7 as well. 15-0 when leading after 6, 17-0 when leading after 7. 2-1 pitch, sharply hit, but at the third baseman Alex Bregman. His sidearm throw across in time to retire Encarnacion. But a 2-out double for an RBI by Carlos Santana makes it 3-0 try.
At 8, we've got some league leaders. They're going to be presented to you by Houston Methodist and their American League run differential. Good teams are very good at this because they score a lot of runs and their pitching holds down the opponent. Astros leading the way by 1 over the New York Yankees. See the Rangers on that list playing well of late. Tampa Bay Rays sneaking on there with that pitching staff that they have, but they also do hit a lot of home runs. Baltimore Orioles pulling up the rear with the +12 run differential.
We'll see the Orioles as the third team in on this homestand. After Cleveland leaves town, Detroit in for 4, and then the Orioles in for 3 over the following weekend. Surprise, surprise, Mike Clevenger's still in there.
How about it?
103 pitches. Terry Francona says, let's stretch this kid out and see what he's got with a 1-hit shutout going through 7. He's got the lefty Andrew Miller warm if needed. Andrew doesn't even need to throw any pitches this inning. He can walk in ready to go. And there's a called strike to Evan Gattis, 1-1. Gattis was a strikeout victim twice. 2 of the career high 8 strikeouts for Mike Clevenger. Two balls and 1 strike. Gattis, Yuli Gurriel, Alex Bregman. Astros need some base runners, down 3. They've had a total of 4 base runners in this game. 2 walks, a single by Jose Altuve, and Josh Reddick reached on an error. Breaking ball stays inside, and now Gattis ahead 3-1. Previous career high was 5 2/3 innings pitched and 5 strikeouts. There's a line drive base hit into left field. Evan Gattis on with a leadoff single. And the Astros have their second hit of the game. Francona was going to let Clevenger go into the 8th inning for the first time in his career. Still a career high and career best outing, a career high innings pitch and a career best outing as Clevenger gets some love from his infielders. And he will leave the game here in the 8th. We'll tell you about the new pitcher coming on for the Indians in a 3-0 game.
For Cleveland, but before we get to that, we're going to name that Astro, presented by your local Honda dealers. These were your 3 clues. We had a lot of correct guesses on Twitter. It's Brandon Backey. Blummer, you knew this because what? He was acquired from Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they shipped me away from Houston for Brandon Backey.
We were very excited as I was then the Tampa Bay Rays or Devil Rays broadcaster.
You don't remember me getting traded over there?
It sounds good.
It does sound good, but I know you're lying through your teeth.
You sat in the row behind me on the charter flights. I do remember that.
I was very loud on those flights, I think.
Here's Andrew Miller. He can be loud with that slider as he faces Yuli Gurriel and gets a half swing that's called a strike. 0-1. Actually, we love them both. Brandon Backey and Jeff Blum.
Well, he's an entertaining guy. He still hangs around. You see him every once in a while at some events around Houston.
Pitches inside. It gets away. Evan Gattis into scoring position. Sometimes the slider's good enough to get the hitter, and sometimes the slider's good enough to get your battery mate as well. That's a wild pitch.
It wasn't much of an effort from Yan Gomes.
You don't see many sliders break with that kind of depth, too. Gomes is probably thinking most mortals are not going to throw a slider that go from one side of the batter's box to the other. Yuli Gurriel has faced Miller 1 time. He has a home run. And now he has a 2-1 count.
Wouldn't mind seeing that happen again.
Happened to be a 2-run home run the only time he faced him.
I like where this is going.
Yuli trying to snap an 0 for 10. There is a strike. Yuli thought that may have been a little bit inside. It's 2-2.
It's an inconsistent zone. We've actually seen full baseballs in the strike zone called balls, and this one well off the plate on the inside corner called a strike.
Now Gurriel goes down swinging. Didn't get much love in that at bat from the first base or home plate umpire. He goes down for the first strikeout for Andrew Miller.
Yeah, I'm not too sure Andrew Miller needs any extra help. He is filthy to begin with. Fastball in the mid to upper 90s. Wipeout slider.
Here's Alex Bregman. Miller retired Marwin Gonzalez, Jose Altuve, and Carlos Correa in order last night in the 8th inning. Bregman fouls one away, 0-1. Everybody got so excited a few years ago around the league watching the Kansas City Royals bullpen. And then last year, the Cleveland Indians bullpen took it a step further with Andrew Miller able to fill so many different roles in that postseason, coming at any time. Truly the fireman for the Indians, coming into the biggest moment, the highest leverage moment of the game, whether it was in the 6th inning, 8th inning, deep into a game. Terry Francona helped ride that team to the postseason and eventually to the World Series with the help of that bullpen. And Andrew Miller was a huge part of it. He's ahead of Bregman 1-2. Marwin Gonzalez came in to last night's game to pinch hit for Josh Reddick. He's on deck to pinch hit for Nori Aoki. Bregman stays alive. Astros have had just 2 runners reach second base today. Josh Reddick with 2 outs in the 4th, and now Evan Gattis in the 8th. Mike Clevenger responsible for the runner on second base. 7 innings plus of 2-hit shutout baseball to this point. Softly hit to right field, holding up for Chisenhall. He's there for the second out. Earlier we heard from Julia talk about the difficulty of coming off the bench, getting to play sporadically, whether you're Evan Gattis or in this case Marwin Gonzalez has not started the last couple of games after an off day. Yesterday he gets the pinch hit against Andrew Miller, and today he gets the pinch hit against Andrew Miller.
Yeah, the life of a bench player is not all that fun, especially when you're coming out there and facing some of the tougher relievers in all of baseball. And after you switch hit, that just increases your opportunities to face right-handers and left-handers that are tough late in games.
Sounds like somebody who's done this before.
Yeah, many a sleepless night getting judged on 1AB against some bullpen's finest.
Well, you mentioned the unfair nature of a hitting streak with a guy with Marwin Gonzalez. He saw his streak go away the last game in Miami. But if he had to continue his streak in this series, if it was 12 games, if he had a hit in Miami, he would have had to have a hit in his lone at bat against Andrew Miller.
No big deal.
Hang in there.
Yeah.
0-1 the count. Marwin, when he was retired yesterday by Miller, is now 1 for 6 in his career against Andrew. One and 1 the count. Astros just 0 for 3 today with runners in scoring position. 2 of those at bats coming this inning. Evan Gattis with a single, advancing on a wild pitch. There's that wipeout slider. Gonzalez swings through it, 1-2.
Marwin is 1 for 4 in pinch hit appearances this season. American League, you don't get too many. He is leading the team with 4.
Fastball called third strike, perfectly placed on the outside corner. Miller comes in and retires all 3 he faces. by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. On we go to the 9th inning at Minute Maid Park. The Cleveland Indians have played .500 baseball against the rest of the league, but they are looking like the defending AL champs against Houston this year as they lead 3-0, having won 3 of the first 4 games. On to pitch tonight for the Houston Astros is Luke Gregerson.
Last time Luke was out there was on the 15th in Miami. Went an inning, gave up 2 hits. One of them was a bomb to Justin Bour. Also had 2 punch-outs through 23 pitches. Working extremely hard to get that ERA down. Had a couple of blow-ups earlier this season.
Luke, who hasn't pitched since that game that Blummer mentioned on Monday, getting some work in here. Doesn't always come into games down 3. 5 days since his last appearance. He'll deal with Jose Ramirez, Lonnie Chisenhall, and Yan Gomes. Ramirez 0 for 3, a couple of ground outs and a flyout. Guy coming in who has been just devastating against Astros pitching. Today, Mike Fiers was able to keep him under control with an 0 for 3. Fiers went 6 innings, allowed 1 earned run, 2 total. 1 earned run came on a solo home run by Lonnie Chisenhall. Run scored against James Hoyt last inning, and that's where we stand. 3-0 Cleveland. Marwin Gonzalez stayed in the game after pinch hitting, and he makes the play against the wall and crashes into the scoreboard wall.
Ouch.
Marwin getting back in a hurry.
That was a heck of a play, but running into that scoreboard is not an easy thing to do. Other than the padding that you do see out there. It is a pretty firm wall, but you can see with that right arm going up. Kind of caught it kind of awkward, that elbow ramming into it. Doing some damage out there, hopefully just to the scoreboard.
Yeah, took out a little piece of the scoreboard there. Like coming right in the game, facing Andrew Miller, and then having to crash into the scoreboard for a catch.
That baseball will find you.
1 out. Luke Gregerson appreciates it. Lonnie Chisenhall misses the slider. It's 1-1. Chisenhall, a couple of home runs in this series. He now has 6 on the year. Gregerson behind the count, 2-1. Chisenhall hit 1 against Charlie Morton last night. Hit 1 against Mike Fiers today. Astros need a 9th inning rally, down 3-0. Slider gets Chisenhall in front again, 2-2. Tomorrow these two teams wrap up not only the weekend series but the season series. Joe Musgrove against Danny Salazar to wrap up this weekend. Swing and a miss. Chisenhall. Trouble with that really good Luke Gregerson slider. Luke picks up his first strikeout.
The slider has been coming back into form for Luke Gregerson. It's good to see. Keeping it down in the zone. Good depth.
So here's Yan Gomes. Gomes singled. His first time up, he's 1 for 3. So Joe Musgrove versus Danny Salazar tomorrow. The Tigers are in town beginning Monday. Dallas Keuchel had been scheduled to start that first game of the series, but he was placed on the 10-day DL today with a pinched nerve in his neck. Brad Peacock, we anticipate will get that start on Monday. There's Dallas. He didn't seem too concerned when talking to Julie and the rest of the media before the game. We should see him Saturday in that series against Baltimore. Gregerson, 3-pitch strikeout of Yan Gomes. Couple of strikeouts in the inning. Astros need a rally. They'll have the top of the order due up.
Up against the Indians. Just like we promised earlier in today's game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Jason Kipnis with a base hit and a couple of runners on. That second runner really didn't stand a chance. Jan Gomes the runner, Josh Reddick with the cannon, Evan Gattis with the catch and tag. Very good defense to keep at least one run off their board for the Houston Astros.
A lot of fans wooing on the way back to the dugout for Josh Reddick after that throw. That end of the second inning as we turn our attention to the bottom half of the ninth inning. Astros will have the top of the order due up, and they will face Cody Allen.
Cody Allen got himself a save last night here in Minute Maid Park to give him 11 out of 11 in the save and opportunity category. He has 103 saves in his career. ERA is very good. Fastball, curveball.
He'll face George Springer. Plummer mentioned the 11 for 11 this year. He's got a 20 consecutive save streak going as Springer digs in, looking for his first hit of the day. And he starts Springer off with a strike, 0-1. Cody Allen versus the Houston Astros in his career, 20 2/3 innings, no earned runs. Fastball away, 1-1. Allen has 11 career saves against the Astros. Houston looking for some base runners, down 3-0, only 2 hits in this game. Single by Altuve and a single by Gattis. There's a strike, 1-2. Allen, like Andrew Miller, appearing in back-to-back games as you look at the perfect numbers for Allen in his career against Houston. In the dirt, 2-2. Josh Reddick on deck. George has only faced Cody a couple of times, 3 in total. 2 strikeouts and a walk. Two and two. Even though the most valuable reliever out of the bullpen is probably Andrew Miller with his ability to go multiple innings, Cody Allen assumes the role of the closer on this team. He pitches the 9th inning for Terry Francona, and he's done a great job. Away, 3-2. George Springer hoping to get on any way possible. This Astros crowd of nearly 35,000 hoping for some offense. They haven't had a whole lot to cheer about so far in the first 8.5 innings. That's going to head towards the crowd and get into the crowd about 8 to 10 rows deep. And an Alex Bregman fan with a catch.
Nice play.
Extended at bat for Springer, stays 3-2, 8 pitches in. Mike Clevenger threw 7 innings plus 1 batter in the 8th. Andrew Miller retired all 3 after Clevenger left the game. And now Cody Allen in the 9th. Springer really battling.
He's got to catch up to one of these. Just wonder if Cody Allen's going to change his mind and maybe snap off a breaking ball to try and get him in this 3-2 count. But George hasn't shown that he is caught up to that fastball, so he may just stick with it.
He's usually about 50-50 fastball curveball when he gets to 2 strikes, but now it's a case where you don't want to walk a guy with a 3-2 count. Fastball ripped into left field, base hit. Astros have the first runner on in the bottom half of the 9th inning.
Well, and I was going to say, it's a 3-0 lead. There's no reason not to challenge George Springer. The last thing you want to do is walk the leadoff man, force him to hit his way on, and that's exactly what George Springer did. Got himself a fastball, timed it up nicely, threw the head at it, and hit a bullet into left field.
10-pitch at bat results in a bullet to left for Springer. Just the 3rd hit of the game for the Astros. That'll bring up Josh Reddick.
113.5 miles an hour off the bat.
What? Really?
113.5 miles an hour. That ball was smoked.
See if the Astros can keep it going. Pitch to Reddick. This is inside, ball 1. Josh has reached a couple of times. He reached on an error and also walked. Hit the ball hard through the legs of Edwin Encarnacion when he reached on that error. There's a ball ripped to right field, but it's hanging up for Chisenhall. Springer is going to get caught off first base. That ball was absolutely laced to right field, and it turns into a double play.
Yeah, that was not a good read by George Springer. Here he recognizes the catch, but I'm not sure why he started to go towards second base. Maybe thinking the ball was going to get over his head, but that hit Chisenhall right in the chest.
Well, here's Altuve taking a called strike. 2 balls hit very hard against Cody Allen in this inning.
108.5 miles an hour off the bat.
113 and 108.5, and the Astros have 2 outs and nobody on base, and this will do it as Altuve grounds out to Jose Ramirez. And the Cleveland Indians have a 3-pitcher combined shutout as they've defeated the Astros for the 2nd straight time this weekend, and for the 4th time in 5 games in the season series. Cleveland wins it 3-2.
Player of the game is going to be brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. In the first 2 games of this homestand, we have had Indians become that player of the game. Today it says Mike Clevenger on there, but the Astros made him look like Cy Clevenger. He went out there for 7 innings, only gave up 2 hits. That hit didn't come until the 7th inning when Altuve got that knock down the line off him. But a career high 8 punch-outs with the fastball slider for Mike Clevenger. Homestand starts with the Astros losing the first 2.
We will have plenty more coming up on Root Sports, including the postgame show right around the corner.